Hello, everybody. Welcome to the January 2021. We made it. We survived 2020. Welcome to the January dinner with the devs. A very exciting dinner. I'm talking with the team, some of the team of I Expect You to Die 2. We just announced that we were working on the sequel, and yeah, what we have to talk about, we're talking about I Expect She Die 2. We're talking about yeah, how the game is being made, some questions from fans. And yeah, we're super excited to really dive in. So just for some housekeeping, yeah, I'm your host, Dwayne Waite Jr., marketing manager here at Schell Games. If you have any questions, whether you are in the Discord or watching it via YouTube, please put it in the live chat, and our live chat moderators, Jill Shuley, our senior marketing director, and Adam, our community marketing specialist. They'll be able to curate those questions and make sure that we are able to answer them. So please be courteous in the chat. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can. We do have a little agenda of what we want to talk about, but most importantly, we do want to get to your questions. So if you ask anything about I Expect You to Die 1 and I Expect You to Die 2. So the big question to think about, and we'll address this at the end, is what about I Expect You to Die 2 should people be excited for? So that is what our answer. And so let's introduce them. So let's start with your name, your studio title, and your project role. And then for those who have already played I Expect You to Die, the first one, you can address if you worked on the first one, and if so, what was the capacity. So let's start with Marlena.
So my name is Marlena, Marlena Abraham. My studio title, I'm an advanced game designer at Schell. My project role, I've been doing a couple different things. I've been doing, yeah, Charlie, I've been doing level and puzzle design, and I've also been doing the bulk of the writing and coordinating a lot of the story stuff with Charlie. And I did like a tiny bit of consulting for I Expect You to Die 1, but not like a ton. Like I was not officially on the team. Little bits.
Cool. Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg Mirles. I am an advanced game artist at Schell Games. I am the lead 3D artist for work on the levels and help with the other levels in the art. I did work on I Expect You to Die 1, but only on the Vacation First Class mission, which was my first role at Schell Games.
Nice. Tera?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tera Nguyen, and I am a producer at Schell Games, also the producer on I Expect You to Die 2. And yeah.
Yeah, so Tera's making sure that the game gets shipped.
Yeah,
so,
I make sure
right.
the game gets shipped on time.
So we're rooting for you, Tera. And Charlie.
I'm Charlie Amos. I am a senior design manager at Schell and the project director. So I'm kind of in between the creative stuff, but also the ship on time stuff. Try to make sure that the game's got a cool vision, that we're listening to everybody's interests and input. We do a lot of play testing, and we do things like dinner with the devs so we can hear from all of you about what you want to see and make sure that we're making games that you all want to play.
There we go. And then behind the scenes, you already heard me talk about Jill and Adam, part of our marketing team with the live chat. We also have Allie, who is our post-production coordinator. So she'll be chopping up all of these bits in the chapters and making sure that for those who couldn't join live, that they could see the video. We also have most importantly, Mac, our tech producer, who's making sure that this video gets put out in a good condition for everybody to watch and enjoy. So thank you for everybody trying to make this video happen. And thank you for the panel, the team being able to carve some time out of your, extra time to talk about work stuff. I always appreciate it. So for those who didn't get a chance to join us, we launched the announcement at 10 a.m. Eastern time in the States. We did a whole premiere. We got all spied up to talk about the game, and then we released a teaser trailer. So Mac, if you are able, if you can pull up the teaser trailer for people to see, that'd be great.
Welcome back, Agent. It's time to get back into the field. There's been an uptick in Zoraxis activity, so you've got a lot of work to do. We're counting on your skill and cunning. You must be ready for anything. Or anyone.
From one imposter to another. Break a leg.
Thank you, Mac. So what we've been doing, we've been iterating our process with our live feeds. And so whenever we have multiple screens and overlays and text, sometimes some things don't go exactly how we planned, but we do have the teaser trailer on our YouTube channel. So if it looked a little chopped up, you're able to look at the video again once the dinner with the devs is over. So let's go right into the questions here. So how did the team really approach the idea of a sequel? And we were talking about this earlier, Charlie, that this is really the first sequel that the studio has ever done. So how did the team really approach the questions and the challenge of that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned too, is how Schell Games is really driven by player feedback and making the games better and better as we develop them. The same kind of thing happened for the sequel. So the first thing that I did when developing the concept for it was we sent out a survey to a lot of people on the email list for I Expect You to Die to ask them questions about what they'd want to see, what was their favorite parts of the first game, what did they think would happen next was a big one. And we also surveyed everybody at the studio too. Project that they want to work on. Until You Fall is probably up there even with it too. But like the original games that we make, everybody loves them. And when I asked for people's feedback on that, I got tons of responses, full pitches for games. I know Greg reached out. I don't know if you knew you'd be on the team yet, Greg, but like you had a presentation to go with the sequel and the feature ideas for it. Lots of people were really excited. And I tried to take that, try to find themes that kept coming up over and over again and build something coherent, cohesive with a single vision out of all of those ideas and excitement.
Good deal. And and as always, if you guys want to jump on and include your own answers for the questions, you are more than happy to do so. So along with that, so what will be some unclassified aspects of the game that could get those who played the first one excited? So what things are similar? We could talk a little bit about the general elements, the timeline. Are things totally different? Are things similar to the same in terms of actually playing? So and the art, is it going to look different? Is it going to look the same? So we can kind of extrapolate a lot from that question. And anybody can start.
I can start off with that one, then hand it off. I think one thing's for sure, our biggest inspiration for this game was the first, right? And that's often not true for our projects because they're not sequels, but we use these things called design pillars when we make games to return to and help use when we've got questions that come up. Is this feature worth having? Let's check the pillars. And for this game, we decided to keep the same ones from the first game. So one thing's for sure, if you really liked the first one, I think you're really going to like the second because it's got the same heart and the same values.
Charlie, sorry, really quick. Can you? I know I'm quizzing you.
Sure.
Can you talk really quickly about what those design pillars are, just to frame that
Yeah.
conversation?
Yeah, I'll take that quiz. All right, we got believe you are there. We got layers of discovery and lead them to cleverness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a pause. I didn't know if I had it in me, but
I believed in you.
When you need it, it comes. Marlena, can you talk a little bit about, because I know you didn't work that much on the first game, so you had to take on a lot of what people liked about the first and bring it in to the second.
At the studio for about 5.5 years or so, and like there's so many people at the studio, like it's almost baked into parts of our culture, like the thinking about the world and the lore and the jokes, and like it's something that, and the design methodology is something that gets brought up a lot. Sean Patton, we've talked a lot about like the brown boxing techniques and the things that have been, like, before I was on this. And so it's this team is made up of some people who've been on the game before, some new people, some new faces, and it's really been a studio-wide process bringing in ideas and interesting, especially at the beginning of the project, ideas and interesting things like Charlie was talking about that people are excited about in the game, like in the studio. And a lot of what's really fun is a lot of people in the studio, it's near and dear to their hearts. So they're like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if? And so for me, thinking about stories, just like, oh yeah, let's write down those ideas. Yeah, tell me more. So I've gotten to learn a lot from the people who have been here before, and then also taken a lot of the fun ideas from the people who are new to the project and incorporate those as well. So I'm really excited to see what you guys think of it.
Good stuff. So how big is so getting more into a little bit of the story, because we know we've been getting a lot of questions about that in the new I Expect You Die Discord. And Adam, I don't know if you put it in the live chat already, but if you didn't, if you could add that Discord link in the chat, that'd be great. What exactly is the time gap and the relationship between the 1 and 2?
Of 1. So they are sequential. You are the same character, and I think
Excellent.
spoilers.
Yeah. Good deal. Let's see. So can we go a little bit more into the story? So like we could kind of look at how I Expect You Die 1 was placed. Is the story that much different in I Expect You Die 2?
So the interesting thing about and Charlie, I'm going to talk slowly. So if I'm getting off into spoiler territory, you can just. I think it's going to be fine though. So the interesting thing about the first game was that it was developed sequentially. So it was the first level, which was a standalone demo, and then a couple more levels, and then the spoilers for anybody who hasn't played the first game, Death Engine DLC. And those were developed over the course of a couple of years, all at once, which may have implications for the story.
Mm.
I didn't see Charlie.
Oh, that was well said. That was well said.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all being cagey because we know you all love the puzzles, you love the mystery, and we don't want to give anything away, but we also want to make you all excited for it. So we're gonna do our best to give you interesting answers without, making the experience not as fun and exciting when you finally get all at once and plan it all out. Huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a while back for the dinner with the devs on the last two levels for the first game, those were made in sequence together, and we knew that's not true. We knew halfway through that it was going to be the end of the game. when we made level 6, we weren't sure if that was the last level, and then as we started level 7, we were told this is likely going to wrap this, which is super exciting news. But we did our best to make that story make some sense, but it's not ever designed to be a linear story. And this game all being designed and thought about as once, we get to think more about how the levels relate to one another, how it all comes together to be more of a singular than like a episodic experience. I know for me, if I am a fan, if I didn't know anything about this game, that's definitely what I'd be most excited about, is how it feels like a single game and not just a bucket of levels.
Yeah, we definitely want it to feel like a spy movie experience that you are in the middle of. So we'll see if we can pull it off.
Well, I think we answered a couple questions here. Gabriel Reed asked, have you changed the story at all without spoiling it, of course? Like an example, Portal 2 was completely different story-wise at first. Like we were always going to be we were always going to still be the same agent. So I think you guys kind of sequential or it's still going after the first one, but yeah, so basically, Gabriel, you're right. So we haven't really changed the story too much, but what Charlie was saying, that we've just been more intentional of how everything is coming together. And so you're still the same agent. I know maybe the team can talk about, there was a question about who exactly is the agent, and we can address that really quickly. Yeah, either Charlie, Tera, yeah, anybody from the team.
I can start that one off a little bit. Marlena, feel free to add on top. First and foremost, you are the agent, right? Like we really want you to feel like you're not playing a role in the same way like you do in Half-Life Alyx, where you very much are Alex and you get to play as her. In this one, we really want it to be that it feels like it's you. At the same time, all the things that the agent, you, did in the first game happened in that world. So it's almost like it's an alternate life that you've had. But it has its own history. It has its own future that you'll make. And we hope that that's a way it can feel immersive and personal, but also have the fun of you building up some notoriety and some lore around you as the agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's one of the things we keep coming back to in this is that anybody can be the spy. You don't have to be specifically James Bond, who is a very particular archetype, in order to be a spy. And we try to make sure that everything reflects that. How they refer to you, the stuff that you see in the levels, the gameplay. We want to make sure that it feels like, if you want to be you, then awesome. If you want to be like cosplaying a particular kind of spy, then awesome. But we want to be able to leave it up to you.
We also noticed that players would really role play in whenever they were playing each of the levels, and seeing how different players would, wear different, things that they find in the level. That was really really inspiring for me in particular, to want to give players the option to really kind of role play and express themselves in the various levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can be a super cool spy if you want to, or a super goofy spy. It's up to you.
James Bond, Johnny English.
Yeah.
Right. You don't even have to play it the same way the whole time, right? I love starting off levels playing it goofy because I know I'm going to lose. And then for speed runs, right, total role play of like the elite super spy. I think that's something that happens somewhat naturally, but it's fun to be able to support that. I've really enjoyed all of the costume elements Greg has put into missions. Anytime we do a play test, you know, obviously the puzzles take some thinking. You need a little bit of downtime. You know, put on their wrists.
Or eat.
Things they can eat. Yeah, totally. Things they can smoke, things they can drink, right? All those little props, they bring a lot of life to who you are in the scene. And that it's a weird answer to the question of who is the agent. The agent is somebody who eats everything in sight, wears every hat, picks up everything, right? Like it's true. And I love the idea that that would be true in this world. Like everyone at the agency knows, like, yeah, that person just eats fruit without, you know,
oh yeah,
taking
that
the peels
agent.
off first.
Oh,
That
that
agent.
yeah, that agent.
Oh, we're-
So speaking about that, we had a question from Big Prumpy. So based on that, like, what's your thought process on coming up with a mission, the design, the puzzles, the art, etc.
Oh my.
oh my.
So feel free to jump in on this, Greg, because we're in different parts of the project, and so processes are a little bit different. But I think that generally speaking, we get a prompt, and then we think, what would be interesting to do in the context of prompt? And then the team gets together and does a huge brainstorm of all the fun things you can do, all of the interesting toys you might find in that space, fun fantasies. Interesting ways to die are always a part of those brainstorms. And then we go and start building stuff. And we see what feels fun, what feels interesting, what looks good in that space. And then we go from there. But that's how we start it. Does that sound about right, Greg?
Yeah, but it's always really fun once the art of a level starts to come together, how it kind of changes how people view the level and the things that they want to do or the things that they gravitate towards. That's always really fun, and then sometimes that kind of takes the level in a different direction. So that's always a lot of fun, but it is always really neat when you get something and when you get something ready and you put somebody in the headset and they are just like whoa, and that's always a great feeling.
Yeah, I remember one of those moments. I think we can talk about this one because it's basically shown in the trailer. There is a mission of you being backstage, and I remember when we first started out with that one. I had all the level concepts together, you know, lightly sketched out. The premise was that you'd be backstage, but you'd be kind of like center back directly behind the curtains. And I remember, Greg, you took that on for, you know, White Box Now, trying to make a setup for it. And do you want to talk about the iterative process for how we got to where we got?
Sure. So we started out in that kind of like center very far back, and I just sort of was experimenting around with like the different places that like a stagehand or, you know, somebody that was backstage would hang out or be working. And actually, like you know, the week prior we had actually taken a tour of a very big theater around in our city, and so I was so inspired by that. And yeah, it just when you put the headset on, it just becomes so real and dynamic, and just moving in different spaces just makes you feel cool and like secluded and secretive. I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, as a person looking at the creative process a little bit like from the outside point of view, I can see like this whole creation process is influenced by all disciplines. Because sometimes like the designers who have an idea first and then communicate that to like artists and audio designers and engineers, and then we build that together. But sometimes it was driven by the experimentation of an engineer. And sometimes it's an experiment of an artist. And so that sparked a lot of inspirations for like everybody else on the team. And then we built on top of that. And then we play test that. And sometimes like play testers would recommend something. And we thought that, oh, actually, that could be a cool idea. And then we try it out and we test it. So it's a very collaborative experience. And it's super cool to see.
Yeah,
Now,
agree.
speaking about I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marlena.
I agree with Tara, and I love the feeling of like, I don't know, maybe it could be something like this, and like I've like scrawled something on a piece of paper and then like handed it, well, not literally these days, but figuratively handed it to like somebody on the art team, and they're like, oh, you mean something like this? And they hand me something back. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so much cooler than I thought it could be. Like, like I love how many talented people are on this project. It's really fun and inspiring to work with them.
Okay, so actually, you're the perfect segue. So whenever you're talking about that, you couldn't hand things literally to people or physically. Night Die Killer asks, Night Die Killer, that's good. What was one of the most challenging parts of development during COVID-19?
All of it.
Yeah.
Next question.
And how did you overcome those obstacles as a team?
Oh, I feel like Tera and Charlie should answer this one because y'all made it happen.
I mean, I can give it a start.
Go for it, Tera.
Yeah, so this game is we got hit by the pandemic. There's a lot of process that worked at the studio but did not work when we start working remotely. So I think it was really important for us as a team to come together and acknowledge all the problems that we run into as a team, but also some of the challenges we have on our personal life or with families, all that. So transparency is one thing. Acknowledge that we're all struggling and we're all trying to help each other in order to do the work. Being accommodating to each other's need is also something that we want to encourage as a team. Reach out to each other when you need help. And then another thing is stability. Now work and work and life kind of blend together. Like a lot of times, like people look into certain meetings in order to meet each other, or like certain meetings in order to align on where we are with the game and what we should do next. And then, fun time, social time is also important. Like people love to play game together. And I think this is something that worked really well remotely because we get to play games together on our computers. So it has like a massive reach, whereas in the studio, sometimes that's harder to arrange. And then other than that, I think it's just, taking it day by day, be honest with each other and trying to fill in the need as soon as we would realize that there's a challenge. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, like Marlena and Greg made it work is that we just kept making mistakes and kept meeting about how to improve them and tried another version of how to run the project and how to develop, even though we're all apart. And slowly but surely it got better, but it did mean lots of hurdles, lots of errors that maybe we wouldn't happen in the office. We go to try to do something the same way because maybe it felt like a meeting over Zoom is just like a meeting in a meeting room, only to find, we have to over communicate. They're more draining. They generally take longer. Find your day fills up with them more than it did at the office. I know early on, I take it for granted now. We basically had no way to play test at all. And
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right?
That,
Talk about like
that was rough.
It was, right? We're just when we all moved to work from home, because just about all of us at the studio are, and most of our team, I think we've got a couple folks in the office. It was pretty abrupt, right? We went back home and thought, maybe it'll be a week, right? It'll be a rough week, but I think we can weather it. Not really have our work machines, so we couldn't do any work really. We did our best with our laptops. some people didn't have a strong enough internet connection, right? Like just the real basics for working.
A desk to work at.
Yeah.
A desk to work at, a private room where you could take a call. And slowly but surely, we found ways to solve all those problems. Many of them specifically individual, some of them team, and playtesting was one of them. But it was a really important one for the success of the product.
A lot of times, whenever we would have like some kind of art, art problem that we wanted to solve, we would just kind of like draw it on like a whiteboard, and like suddenly like struggling trying to draw something with a mouse to convey an idea became really, really frustrating. And we definitely started using a lot of diagrams, which was really helpful. But yeah, that stuff was really hard.
Yeah, I remember we were having discussions on whether to do a call on Slack because the artist would have the ability to draw on top of the screen.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Google Hangouts couldn't do it. And so, yeah, there was like a different discussions on what platform we should use to call each other at certain meetings and what platform will be best for other types of meetings, like reviewing things in the game. Like Discord is the perfect platform to review. Like, figure out what's best for the moment, but also optimizing that for long-term use so that people know where they should go to, what to expect.
I liked, back when we were using Slack, this is fallen on the wayside a little bit, but for a long time, our main method of like back in April or May, so when things were still bad and people were like, oh my goodness, how do we socialize? My like little work pod's main method of socialization was team doodles on top of documents in Slack. And that was super fun. And it was a great moment in time, I think, of like, oh, we can still experience working together. So it was great. Now things are a lot better.
Oh, props to you guys, just figuring all of those challenging situations out. Let's see. So we have some more. Seventh Dread 82, thanks for tuning in, asks, is there a way to maybe test the I Expect You Die 2 or get an early beta access? Also, if there's a way to join the beta programs or some maybe some other up and coming VR games.
Yeah, I think so. We still have, I think, playtesters at schellgames.com. Is that the address? I think so. Or at least it used to be. Tera's nodding her head. That gives me confidence. That you can email to sign up for a playtesting list. And that's not just for I Expect You. You never know what you'll get signed up for. Sometimes it's some pretty exciting stuff. The service that we're using to help us out is user testing. So I'm not sure how that works. Maybe Tera, could you sign up for user testing and find a way to, get access to some of our playtests?
Yeah, I think the easiest way would be to email the email that you just said to the audience, and then from there we would lead you into like user testing platform, and then you will also get paid to play the beta version as well. So we actually, previously we sent out like a list to our fans of the first game to ask for like, hey, we really need play testers, and a lot of people sign up. So if you are interested, definitely contact us, and we'll get you hooked up.
So much more official than when I started at this company.
And Seventh Dread, it looks like you asked that question in the I Expect You to Die Discord. Doing alpha and beta testing, so just make sure that you stick around in the Discord and you'll get that information. Oh yeah, here's a good one that we were seeing this morning from a lot of people. So Agent Mac and Hiccup Bolt HP asks, what exactly is Operation Phoenix? So we could talk about the Phoenix nickname and what exactly that was, and if I need to jump in, I happily can.
You take this one, Charlie.
Yeah, this is the hard one. This is deeply classified. What I can say is it's the code name for this game. So it's, we didn't just say it as a throwaway. Will be important. You just don't know how yet, and you'll have to find out. But I promise it's exciting. It was not planned when we started this project, and it emerged, just like, Greg's new idea for the backstage scenario, like so many of the great ideas that come up from all sorts of sources. It was just a happy accident, and we grabbed it and ran with it. But I think you're all really going to like it.
Good deal. So we can just move on with that. Essie asks, what is your favorite part of producing a game?
Oh, yeah. I love seeing how everything comes together to ship a project. A lot of time, like for game development, everything's moving so quickly. And so like having the ability to see the big picture, what needs to get done in order to ship the game on time is very important. So that's like one of my favorite things to do on the game. I also really like to build relationship with each person on the team. We have a fairly large team, and sometimes, some goals or concerns are not being heard. So it's very important for like not just me, but also like everybody on the team to check in with each other to help out. And so I really enjoy the aspect of doing like one-on-ones or just like send out a survey to make sure that, people concerns are noted and addressed. So that's also another thing that I like to do. And just getting involved in the creative process is fun. Like I love seeing like people experimenting with things and then play testing it, reviewing it, all the feedback coming from all kinds of like disciplines and people and play testers. That's just super exciting. So I would say I love everything about game development production, but like those are the main three things that stand out.
Yeah, and forgive me, that's Agent B's, not BSE. I was like, BSE, that's weird. Yeah, Agent B's, because there are B's in the first one. So that's pretty cool. So thank you for that answer, Tera. So Gabriel asks, how long has I Expect You Die 2 been in development, and when did they decide that they wanted to do a sequel? So let's take the first one. How long has the sequel been in development?
They're closely related to the second part of that question. We started the early concepting of this one right after we finished level 7 production. So if you remember when that came out, which I think was early fall, like September of 2019, that's about when we started thinking about this one. However, like the concepting phase was pretty long, and the game development, it wasn't like have everybody on the team immediately start making the game. It was much more rolling. We started very, very small, just making documents, little prototypes, things like that. While most of the folks who would eventually end up on our team were on other projects at the studio. And then as they became available, they started to join the team, and even that was rolling. So not every project here is like that. It's usually just based on scheduling and staffing and things like that. But it was great. I mean, it happened only a little bit before we all went to work from home, but it was great having the whole team together, even if we were just a little bit, all being in the same place. Because it's one of the biggest games I've worked on as far as number of people.
So speaking on that, Ice Weird asks, how large is the dev team working on the game?
30 people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good deal.
And to speak on what Charlie just mentioned too, so I joined the project around December, January, and then right after that was the pandemic. So it's crazy to think, but like most of the game is developed while we working remotely.
Yeah. I remember like the week before like GDC started to be like, oh, maybe GDC is not going to happen. We were like about to move our desks all into the same area to be like, all right, we're all in the same gym. And then it's like, okay, just go home. And we're like, oh.
Yeah.
But very close. So close.
Go ahead.
I joined the project very close to the beginning, pretty much like a couple of weeks after it was like officially decided at the studio. And I mentioned earlier that I worked on First Class, but it was definitely challenging to come into the project and have to establish like the pipeline for how we were going to create the assets in the game, how they were going to look, how to create something that was not just more of like the same type of stuff, but how do we evolve the art style and keep all of those exciting moments and evolve them for something in 2021, just kind of like what is going to be the evolution of I Expect You to Die, visually and artistically. So that was a lot of fun trying to understand what made the game so visually like unique.
Good stuff. Let's see. So just to deviate a little bit while we're all working from home, Courtney asks, what was your favorite snack while working from home on the game?
Frozen dumplings from Costco.
Oh, those are good.
A lot of bubble tea. A lot of bubble tea.
What do I like eating? I eat
Not
a lot of
much.
different things. It's hard.
I eat nothing.
Next
I'm not much
question.
of a snacker. I not during work, but I love a good Cheez-It. Nothing like
I was
toasted
gonna
cheese
say, like,
crackers.
Charlie, are you sure you don't like snacks?
Oh, that's right. You know about my Cheez-It obsession.
Yeah.
That's why I don't eat them during work. It would be disruptive.
Mm.
I don't want to do that.
I feel like I'm learning so much.
That's dinner with the devs.
Yeah.
No, see, very important to me is that my fingertips don't get covered in that powder that you get in some chips and Cheez-Its. And as much as I love a hot and spicy anything, that's powder. I can't do it. If they give me a dry, hot and spicy Cheez-It, that's it. Quit my job, become a professional Cheez-It eater.
Use chopsticks.
I think you're blowing my mind. And it's cool.
Sorry,
it's not just like a good idea. It's also a cool idea.
Oh no, we just watched Charlie's productivity. just love it.
I'm just imagining the wasted time. How much time I've wasted not eating Cheez-Its with chopsticks.
Oh, that's so good.
It's fine.
All right. That's good. Let's see. Let's get, we have a lot of questions, so let's keep going. Agent Star asks, the Zoraxis logo is pretty self-explanatory. Hand grabbing a globe, world domination. What does the agency logo mean, and how did you come up with it?
A great question that I will slightly make up an answer to, because I'm going to wing it, but I'll be relatively close. First off, I think it's true that it is not the agency logo, but the Enhanced Operatives Division logo. And in that case, it changes the way one would read it, because I believe it is an eye with a spiral in the middle. Quickly looks it up.
It's just the spiral.
It's just a spiral. There's no eye iconography.
Oh yeah, there is the eye in the center of the spiral. Yeah.
There's an eye in the center of the spiral. Yeah, right. It kind of looks like an eye. I guess one could interpret it just as a spiral. And it says your mind is your deadliest weapon. Is that it? Your best weapon. Not deadly. You don't kill any of your mind. It's now becoming clear I wasn't involved in making that.
Yeah, need to bring in like Brad? Question?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. It does.
Yeah, because based on the documentation, there's not much behind the agency. Well, one, you're right, Charlie, because we haven't shown an agency logo. We've shown a division of the agency logo. So, original, I Expect You to Die one team, what they were thinking about.
And honestly, one thing's for sure is that we just don't know that much about the agency. The agent doesn't either. Agent doesn't even know their handler's name. I think like that's a way to keep your operations nice and secure, distributed. Don't give any non-need to know information.
That's right.
Yeah, but it is a very classic, like that logo has been in there since the very beginning. So it's yeah. At this point, how many years has it been since the first demo?
Oh,
Since
whoa,
the
yeah.
Demo, 2015, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
That was before hand controllers for the
Yeah, that was when it was
VR
mouse
systems.
controllers. Yeah.
Mouse and keyboard. What were we
Mouse and
thinking?
keyboard on the Oculus Share, which is no longer a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Night Die Killer. Do you plan on launching a collector's edition of I Expect You Die 2? So we were talking earlier before the stream of what fun things that we can support the I Expect You Die series, right? And the collector's edition of I Expect You Die 2 is a really cool idea. I think that's things that we're all talking about. What can we do to delight the fans of both 1 and 2? So we'll just have to get back to you about that. There's no definite answer. Let's see. Ice Weird asks, love the first one. How many levels are you planning on this one? And would you say that this one is more difficult than the first? So you do have a good number of missions for the second one. We won't say exactly how many, but I guess Charlie, Marlena, what would you put in terms of difficulty, or could you compare it? Because it's a little bit different since it's so story rich versus the first one. So how can I'll let you guys talk about is it more difficult than the first or not?
Yeah, Marlena, do you want to take that one? I know, especially you've observed a bunch of playtests, so you can probably tell where we're at.
Yeah, I think from the playtest data that we've got so far, it sounds like people think that this is like, at one point people thought it was harder than the original game, at one point people thought it was easier. So I think that it probably it's going to end up being at about the middle. It's going to end up being around the same difficulty, and we try and balance it in a very particular way that hasn't changed a lot since the first game. So I would guess that it's probably about the same in terms of difficulty. But I've also been playing these over and over and over for the last year. So I'm not a good judge of that anymore. I think that we'll just have to wait and see when it launches, when reviews come in.
I definitely. Oh, sorry, Charlie.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Greg.
I definitely think that we're going to have levels that people are going to be like, this is the hardest level, or this is the hardest level, or this is an easy one. But we tried to definitely make it so that all of the levels have like, a curve up, and then kind of the next level kind of curves up so that it's a little bit harder. But each level has like various like their own little mini story arc to them. But I know that a lot of people think that the bathysphere level from the first game is like the hardest one.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because one person's, oh, this is so fun, it's so hard, is another person's, oh my God, this is so frustrating. And so I know that some people really love the sub level because it's so difficult, and some people are like, this is really frustrating because of the timed element. So we have some new stuff that I think will be interesting to put in front of you to see where that lies for you, and hopefully it fits into this is just difficult enough to be super fun. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think definitely our goal is not for it to be sequel harder, right? Like, every single mission is harder than every single mission from the first game. We want you to be able to play this one even if you haven't played the first and still have a great time. And that pillar of lead them to cleverness is, we know it's frustrating. It's not that fun to get stuck. We don't want you to get stuck. We always want you to have a little bit of something to pull on, a little thread to head down. And if you head down that, you get a little bit more information, a little bit of a reward. And like Marlena and Greg were saying, the difficulty of puzzles, is so subjective. it also depends on what you did to approach it. Something that we saw a lot on the first game and on this one too, is if you go to approach one of the puzzles and you try something that is correct, but you did it in just a slightly wrong way, so it didn't work, you're unlikely to try it again because you're like, oh, that didn't work. Happens, it's because you were on the right track, but not fully. So yeah, it's depends a whole lot, but I think in this one, we really focused not just on a difficulty curve where those difficulty spikes happen and when, but also on an interest curve. It might not be hard, but is it exciting and is it fun?
Very cool. Yeah, I want to get to a lot of these questions. We have a bunch. See, I'll try to knock a couple of these out. Where were we? Okay. Drew asks, what is the expected date of IEYTD 2 of coming out? That is sometime in 2021. So stay tuned for that. Oh, there were a couple things. There were a couple of easy ones I was trying to get to, and now I lost them. Let's see. Oh, how about well the easy Blake easy Blake Cookies asks, will the Vive Cosmos get support this go round? The first one worked, but it was a little clunky with Vive redesigning the controllers. Okay, so with that, I think we pushed a patch with the index, so not necessarily the Cosmos, but I believe with the patch with the first one that the Cosmos works a little bit easier. I think Charlie, you could double check me with that. But in terms for the second one with the platform support or the headset support, we have not come out with a definitive list yet. And whenever we do that, we'll do that all across our social, newsletter, Discord, and website. So you'll be able to see exactly what headsets that we will natively support. Did you have anything to add on that, Charlie?
Always, I always got a little something. But one interesting thing about that I find both exciting but really tough is just how fast the VR hardware landscape changes and how the production cycle for the first game was so long, right, because of all the DLC that we did. Like we mentioned, the first one was made before we even had hand controllers. There was no index, there was no Quest, there was no Vive Cosmos, no HP Reverb, none of that stuff. We were still on, I don't even know which Rift version. I think it was just the base Rift. And as each of those platforms has come out, each has a little bit of a different control scheme, inside out tracking, all these kinds of differences and all a different controller feel. So we've done our best for the first game to try to go back and support all these new headsets that come out. And a big challenge for this one was figuring out which headsets should we support. Will, again, during our production, a new headset come out, right? The Quest 2 came out pretty recently. Will there be something else that comes out in a month or two from Sony or who knows, right? Most of the time we don't know that. And so it's difficult to prepare. And honestly, it's even if a new system came out and we still had a couple months to go making the game, it's unlikely we'd be able to drop everything and support it right then. Mm-hmm. But like with the first, if there's a headset that people are using and loving, we'll make sure that you can play our games on it.
Let's see. Impatient, one of our faithful Until You Fall Discord folks, and he joined the IEYTD Discord. Are there plans, or what are your thoughts of a workshop or modding support?
I could talk about that one a little bit. Obviously I can't confirm anything, but I can say that when I surveyed folks at the studio, especially for things that they were excited about, would love to see, something that came up a lot was there some way we can make our system modular or explore some way to have like user-generated content? I think a lot of that comes from our physical early inspiration of escape rooms. And that's often how we describe IEYTD. It's like a spy-themed escape room where you die. So you can't usually die in real escape rooms, I don't think.
Not yet.
Not yet. But part of the fun of the escape room from the development side is you just got this real estate, you got this room, and you fill it with interesting objects that you can just buy at, wherever the thrift stores. I don't know where they buy items of furniture for escape rooms. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's
estate sales.
Yeah, sorry, estate sales. That would be awesome.
Mm.
But you basically, those are modular, right? You build them from component parts. And is there some way we could do something similar? It's a very different game, I think. And Greg knows this especially. I'd love to hear from you on this one, Greg. The amount of care and effort that goes into every object, the way it looks, where it is, how it opens, how it functions. That's part of what trips us up when we think about how to make it modular, how to make a user-generated content system, because those things are crafted.
Yeah, pretty much every object in the game requires like a lot of, iteration and working and it being perceived as intended. And that scales up from like just like an object all the way to like a whole level, hoping like, oh man, does this level convey like the tone that we're going for, or the like the setting that we're going for. That's always like a real challenge to make sure that we're hitting those marks. But the good it seems like you guys are really picking up a lot of the stuff that we're putting out there, and I can't wait to see like what you guys think when you actually get like the full game and you're finding all those fun Easter eggs.
So speaking of Easter eggs, Agent Sai asks, do you have a favorite Easter egg or small detail that not everyone notices? So I guess we can split that into two. So Charlie, you worked on a couple of the first, as has some of the others. So you could talk about I Expect You to Die 1, but then also, will there be any Easter eggs or details in the sequel that people can look forward to?
Yeah, I know one of my favorites. Whenever I have friends and family play the first game, I always ask them to do, just because I think it's so fun. So there's a very minor spoiler. There's a can of meat in the last level, just good old can of meat. And if you give it an old shake by the ear, you'll get an incredibly satisfying meat sloshing sound. Not your usual Easter egg, but
Oh my goodness.
what it is, it's representative of the level of detail that the team goes to. That's, I think, is the details like that. They can be appreciated because you can pick it up, because you can bring it close. We love to have payoffs. If you look under something, pull something out, look really close, read the fine print. We're constantly, and in the sequel too, we use those spaces. We put little details there. If it's really hard to access, we make sure that it's not required for a puzzle, but we want a little bit of payoff. We know you're being curious, and we want to say, hey, thanks for looking close.
I think it's still in the game, but in the first I Expect You to Die game, in the first class mission, on the back of the armored car, there is actually a jerry can of gasoline. And I don't think I've seen anybody do this ever. I don't know if anyone's even found it, but you can hold the jerry can out the train window, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but whatever. You can actually get the plane to hit the jerry can and cause an explosion, which is a way to also take out the plane other than using the machine gun on the armored car.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even know that one. I didn't know that
Yeah,
one.
I didn't know that one
So
either.
subtle.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I know that they're like in our something really fun or like super cool or really silly, and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you added this. I love it. And so it's like it's almost like a fun thing sometimes, even internally, where somebody will just have an idea and be able to implement it, and sometimes those make it into the final game. So I know I've got a lot of those. I've put a lot of stuff into the script. So yeah, I love Easter eggs, and I am excited to see which ones people find. I mean, people are going to find all of them eventually, but
we're a little over 7. I just want to keep you guys for just a couple more minutes. So let's do some lightning round thing. So really quickly, each person we'll start with Tera. So let's do the number of deaths, or the type of deaths that are still familiar in I Expect You to Die 1. So we don't want to give away too much or anything in how you die in the sequel. So what's your favorite and least favorite ways to die in the game? Obviously.
Okay. My favorite would be poison gas. Least favorite, explosion.
Okay, Greg?
Probably my least favorite way to die is by electrocution, because it always freaks me out. And my favorite way to die is probably being set on fire, or bees. Stung by a lot of bees. That's the one.
Oh yeah, that's
kiss.
rough.
Mwah.
Yeah, Marlena?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Least favorite way is any way that I wasn't expecting. It's ironic considering the name of the game. And most favorite way is when I realized that there's no way I can win the level, and so I would just like, all right, I guess I'm going down in a blaze of glory, and then like do something like shoot out the window of the car or something like that. Or I'm like, if I'm gonna die, it's gonna be on my own terms.
Charlie?
Yeah, I'm similar with Marlena. My least favorite way to die is the one where I'm dying actively, maybe slowly over time, and I'm like, what is killing me? Those are the worst. And you have to wait as you slowly die, and then you finally see the death card, and you're like, radiation? What the? It's kind of fun, but in the moment, oh my goodness. And I think that my favorite way to die is just quickly. Right, so like the thing I like about the electrocution death, despite it making me jump every time, is at least it's over. I can get back in it.
Let's see. So yeah, that kind of answers Gabriel's question as well. What's your favorite death in I Expect You to Die 1? So that's kind of like your favorite. So we'll put those together. Let's see, another one. Oh yeah, who's your favorite character in I Expect You to Die? Let's stick with the first one, because personally, Gabriel loves hivemind, and apparently hivemind's being discussed quite a bit in the YouTube chat.
Oh, hivemind.
Also, another question is who did the voice for hivemind?
Oh, that's a great question. So hivemind, and I think a couple of the other characters in the game are voiced by one of our sound people, Julian, who I guess it's not a spoiler to say has also been doing a lot of our scratch VO. And it's just so much fun to be in a recording studio doing scratch VO, because you can go so over the top, and Julian's very good at that.
Good deal. Let's see, any others for favorite characters or
I don't think this
of characters?
I don't think this is a spoiler or bad to say, because we tease a character in one of the levels in the new game. I'm not going to say anything about them, but it's a very, very tiny, tiny little tease, and I hope that we get to revisit that character, because they're really fun.
Okay, good stuff. A fun character that hopefully will get more of an appearance later. That's good. Patrick asks, what game engine you're using? Is it still Unity?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's play. Keldio asks, are you interested in releasing the game in different languages? Maybe release an update with subtitles. we have been looking at that for, gosh, what has it been, Charlie? Like almost a year and a half of how we can add, subtitles or different languages to, especially the first one. I don't know too much about the sequel right now in terms of languages and subtitles, but we're actively trying to find out affecting the gameplay or the vision or like the experience. And so obviously, Charlie, you could speak more expertly to this than I can, but it's on our minds. Accessibility is a big thing in the studio, so we're trying to look for what the best solution is for that.
Yeah, it's high on our priority lists for sure. I think we're going to find a good solution. We had some really without the character standing in front of you, we can't do things like text bubbles, which other games have done to try to solve similar issues. And we love to have characters all talking at the same time, have like back and forth banter, which can give you a big old pile of stacked subtitles at once potentially that need to somehow exist in the 3D VR space too. I know we can solve that problem, but it does make it a little bit trickier than it would in a traditional game. But yeah, I know we've been working on that a bunch. I think it's just a matter of time before we're able to fully support it.
Cool. Let's see. Erica asks, will we be able to save progress as separate users? That is something that we'll probably have to address later. Cave asks, is there anything to look forward to in terms of the beginning credits for the second one? Again, that's probably something that we'll have to answer at a later date. What I do want to end with, so a lot of these questions are great. Like we have about 50 plus questions so thank
goodness.
you to everyone. So we're going to save these questions. We're going to answer them in the Discord over a couple of days. So please make sure you join the I Expect You Die Discord. I'm sure the link has been shared in the live chat by now. But I want to end this. So thank you, everybody, for spending your time with me to talk about I Expect You Die 2. But I do want to end with that we talked about earlier whenever we started the stream. What are you most excited about with I Expect You Die 2, and what should people be excited about? So let's start with Tera.
I'm very excited to ship the game.
Right answer.
That's a really important part of making a game. I agree.
Yeah, and I think with the pandemic and everything that we've been going through, and we're working really hard to be able to ship the game. I think just having that outside the door, getting playtest feedback, seeing people enjoying the game would be like the most meaningful thing that I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Greg?
Every level in the first game is so unique, but I think that every level in the second game is even more unique than in the first game. But there's one level that is my favorite level, and I think that I'm so excited to see people play it because I think it's a real treat. And yeah, it's going to be great. I just can't wait to see everyone play it.
Marlena?
What Greg said. Like I'm excited to see people play it, and we've been working on this for a while now, and this is the first day that we get to talk about it, and now I'm looking forward to the first day that we get to see people reacting to it, and that is both terrifying and really, really, really exciting.
And Charlie?
Yeah, similar. So specifically, you may not know this, but when the game launches, when the game levels have launched in the past, we love to get together as a team and watch you all stream. We watch your streams and we relish it, seeing you all figure things out and have a good time and laugh and die, come back, try again. It is definitely. If I were you, what I would be excited about is it's going to be an experience, right? Like I think you're going to want to tell your friends about what happened to you, what you did. I think it's a great game to play with friends. If you know, hopefully we can all get together physically in the future. Having friends over on the couch while one person plays and other people try to, you know, give hints and help, and you do a hot headset. I think it's a really, really fun game for friends like that.
Excellent. And yeah, I am I'm so excited. Just continue to roll things out of I Expect You to Die 2 to continue to excite people about it. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I Expect You to Die 2 comes out later in 2021. The coming soon page is on Steam. Please wishlist a game, share the link with friends, tell everybody you know about it. Marlena, Charlie, Greg, Tera, thank you so much for joining the January Dinner with the Devs. Next month for February, we're going to have a lot of our engineers on it, the people who code and program the game, so they get a chance to talk about how the games are made, their processes with it, using what game engines that they use, and the intricacies of it. So please join us for that. It'll be the last Wednesday of the month as well at 6 o'clock. Subscribe to the channel so you get until you follow all of our original IP. Follow Schell Games and I Expect You to Die on Facebook, Twitter, all the things. Join our newsletter as well, and we will see you next month.